Hello, my name is Chris Consoli. I'm the Senior Consultant at the Global CCS Institute.
Suan Tan, the OGCI XCOM champion for CCUS. Every scenario from the IPCC, the IEA, the expert scientists, they all agree that CCUS has a critical role to play for the world to achieve the Paris Agreement goals of a well below 2-degree world. The experts also agree that CCUS is vital for the meaningful decarbonization of heavy industries like steel, like cement, refiners, and chemical complexes. It can also support the scale up of a clean hydrogen industry and negative emissions to direct air capture. This is why OGCI is working with industry, with governments, with NGOs, with our local communities, and importantly, the finance sector and other investors to help create a CCUS industry at the scale the experts tell us is required to help achieve the Paris goals. It is one of our key priorities. Over the past few years, OGCI has worked with the Society of Petroleum Engineers to make a standard system of classification called the Storage Resource Management System. This system is now being applied to any published resource assessment, and the information is being made public in the catalogue for everyone to access.
The CO2 Storage Resource Catalogue is the first independent worldwide evaluation of geological storage assessments. We achieved this by applying the Society of Petroleum Engineers Storage Resource Management Scheme, or the SRMS. The Global Institute, Pale Blue Dot, and OGCI worked closely together to create this catalogue. And we have used published assessments from around the world and evaluated them according to the standard classification system of the SRMS. Our ultimate aim is for the catalogue to become the global repository for all future storage resource assessments. We will use and help develop the SRMS so everyone can understand the CCS readiness of storage resource assets around the world.
So at present, CCUS operations around the world store around 35 million tons of CO2 a year. By 2030, the volume needs to rise to around 1.5 gigatons a year to get on track to meet the Paris goals. This requires a quantum leap in terms of storage capacity. Until now, the assessments of size and maturity of potential underground resources has been fragmented and it's not standardized. This makes it hard to make informed decisions on the availability and readiness of storage resources. For investors to have the confidence to invest in CCUS, and for governments to move ahead with policies and regulations that support CCUS, they need to know what storage capacity is out there and be able to compare like for like.
Some upfront stats to remind you of the amazing work completed for the catalogue. Over 500 individual sites were reviewed, each with data comprising what country and basin they sit in, what formation is part of that site, the well density, porosity, and permeability for each and every site. We reviewed over 80 basins across 13 countries and used over 180 references. The SRMS is applied to those 500 sites, and it really focuses on that core function of the SRMS, which is to define the commercial maturity of the storage resources. Now, having those commercial maturity will enable the CCS industry to provide investor level confidence in those published storage resources and really understand their development through the project lifecycle. Information on the 525 potential CO2 storage sites currently that sit in the catalogue comes from the Global CO2 Storage Assessment, which was published in 2019. It is the first of a 6-year program with the OGCI, and all that information is now available to the public. The first key finding that has come from this analysis is that there are sufficient storage resources, more than 12,000 gigatons, available for the permanent storage of CO2. And those resources are geographically spread around the world. The second key finding is that there is over 400 gigatons available for CO2 storage that can be classified as discovered resources. Now, a discovered resource means we have adequate geological knowledge of those resources and understand their potential for a future CCS site ready for commercial deployment. Encouragingly, this number provides a very strong start for the CCS industry to meet the IEA's Sustainable Development Scenarios goals for carbon capture and storage. However, we must acknowledge that much more needs to be done. That mainly includes the ongoing CO2 storage characterization and development of those storage resources. Both are critical for the large-scale deployment of CCS, and it needs to happen on a truly global scale. The final finding is not about the technical readiness of storage resources. It's about the commercial readiness. Commercial readiness also requires a supportive policy and regulatory framework. That is why storage resources in countries such as Canada, Norway, and the UK and the US are significantly more mature, making them the hotspot for the next wave of CCS projects.
The catalogue will make a uniform set of data and references available to anyone, the public, and also interested particular stakeholders like investors, emitters, the government. The catalogue will provide a centralized, publicly available database and support ongoing monitoring of storage. This will help promote confidence in the safety and permanence of CO2 storage around the world. The catalogue will help bolster investors' understanding of commercial development and maturity of published CO2 storage resources.
The Storage Resource Catalogue represents a significant step towards the commercialization of storage resources for carbon capture and storage. The catalogue will provide a set of clear and consistent definitions for those defining storage resources, those in the industry. But it also improves commercial confidence in storage resource evaluations for investors and decision makers alike. It will create a single terminology for storage assessors and those outside the industry, enabling clear communication. And finally, it sets a benchmark for storage maturity during national and regional assessments.
We hope the catalogue will become a global reference point and that researchers will use the storage resource management systems and submit future assessments so that the catalogue can be easily updated and expanded. OGCI's involvement with the CO2 Storage Resource Catalogue is part of a broad range of actions we are taking to accelerate the deployment of CCUS, enabling it to play a key role in achieving net zero emissions. Our industry works with this kind of classification system to understand our own assets. For CO2 storage, we need to build on this to understand the entire basin and systems. And this is why OGCI and our member companies are working collectively and with the Society of Petroleum Engineers and the Global CCS Institute to provide a publicly available resource to encourage deployment of CCUS.